The Dallas Cowboys are a mess, an absolute mess, a dumpster fire of a team. It's been that way for a few years, but it's been covered up by having a dumpster fire of a conference and winning a couple of those titles, and even winning a playoff game along the way. There are many places to blame on something like that. I personally blame the hiring of Mike McCarthy, which will go into my point in a second. I think that's a horrible deal, and he's the 2007 coach in 2020. He's not ready for this world, and it's showing right now. And Dak Prescott being hurt just exposed it worse. But a lot of the fans will blame Jerry Jones. The problem with it is only one side can blame. They've got two generations that have seen this. The first generation was 1989 and on. The one that won the Super Bowl. That generation saw three Super Bowls. The other generation has seen garbage along the way of Cleveland Browns. They have a right to be mad. The other generation doesn't. But regardless if they're going to listen to me or not, the ones that blame Jerry Jones are only touching the surface. They will say things like, he's just floating by on being the most valuable team in sports, that he's trying to be Hollywood, that he doesn't care about winning. See, if he didn't care about winning, he wouldn't have the three Super Bowls. He's just trying, I will say this, he is living off those. He wants more, I do know that, but see, here's where the issue lies. Let's do a little bit of a backtrack. Let's go back to history. After he left college, which he was a really, really good football player, he borrowed money from the Teamsters twice. He had pizza, he had pizza shops that failed, and then he tried to buy an AFL team. Both failed. He got himself in the oil and natural gas industry. He succeeded big time to the point of being a billionaire. Everything he does is thinking business, but the thing about younger Jerry Jones is he's brass balls. All the way. Go for it. A lot of you already know the story. When he bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989, he was the one that fired Tom Landry. Went to the golf course, fired him. And the crazy thing about it is the fact that he was the lowest bid to buy the team, but he was the only one that said they would fire Landry. How it was handled was awful, but that's the fans' fault, so I'm not going to go into that. He should have had a good buy, but that's neither here nor there. Jerry Jones had the guts, and the only person that had the guts to fire basically a legend, a deity in Dallas. The only person that can make him pack up his office. The only coach for 29 years. He had the guts to do it. And then he hired Jimmy Johnson, one of his teammates in college. Hired him. And they're both firebrands. They both take chances. They both want to win. They're both aggressive. Which you have to be if you're in the oil business. So those two had gigantic egos, and then one goes. Barry Switzer, another firebrand. He has to. He has to go after a losing season. He has to go, and he's retired, but he gets the Super Bowl. In the midst of it, the two firebrands with big brass, you get it, won 3 Super Bowls. Since then, wrote this down for a second. They've had Chan Gailey, Dave Campo-Finique, because he was a wart on this team, Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. 6 of the most absolute safest picks you could have for coaches. Parcells shouldn't have been safe, but he's got older. He was older. He pushed back a little bit, but he got older. So he wasn't the firebrand he used to be when he was on the Giants. He wasn't the legendary coach. He still had winning seasons, still got to playoffs, but not the same guy. So you have 6 of the safest coaches possible. Wade Phillips is not his dad, so that was safe also. Everything after the 1995 Super Bowl has been safe. And this is where Jerry Jones, this is what happened with him. He got old. And I'm not saying old, but he's 78 years old. Everybody gets old if we're lucky and we're blessed to be old. But he's acting old. He's acting safe. He does look like he's trying to keep the Dallas Cowboys at the #1 team in the world as far as value. It looks like that's what he's trying to do. He's just floating. But he's so safe. There's nothing gutsy about anything that he does anymore. And that's why there's this losing. It's not the surface thing that the fans keep talking about. Because why does he get a Mike McCarthy instead of trying for a younger coach? I mean, and it's not just that they won't push back. Because that's true, but it's not that. He just doesn't, there's just nothing about his choices that are anywhere gutsy anymore. When he first came into the league, he had guts, he had fire, he had brass, if you get my point. He had all of that. And he trades Herschel Walker when Herschel Walker is the only guy on that team that could play. Trades him for a bunch of draft picks. And they go 1-15 in '89. 1-15, which made the Dallas Cowboys fans apoplectic. They went 1-15, and he stuck his course. Went 7-9, then he won Super Bowls. Super Bowl after Super Bowl, got to the NFC title games. It was all gumption, all guts, all everything. Go for it. Go for the aggression. Then he got safe. And see, that doesn't mean every old person gets safe. We can name a specific one in this world that's not safe, and he's old. And I'm not going to go into that, but that's what he is. Sometimes when people get older, they get safe. They just kind of float. There's a fear to them. There's a fear to trying anything anymore. See, Jerry would have nothing to fear because he has the money, But you just get to this point where you feel like that you've done enough. And in that case, if he's going to be that way, he might need to sell the team and retire. But he won't, because the one thing he still has is his ego. And in the end, the ego might bring him down. But it's going to probably take a tape recording of something like Donald Sterling to do that. Till that point, fans are just going to have to figure out or hope to get lucky.